I don't know if you saw the video I posted this morning at Tony Kurre Radio on my Twitter page. America's Got Talent has got an extreme show now called America's Got Talent Extreme version.
God, the America's Got Talent was a little. Some of the stuff on there was they just carved out the extreme people and put them on their own show.
Yeah, you ever watch the show?
Yeah,
you watch.
That's weird.
And I mean, obviously, if you're watching the show, you know whatever's going to happen, it's going to work out, right? It's like a Disney movie. Yeah. It could be horrible, but you're like at the end, you know, Bambi's going to run away
right,
or
the
whatever.
Sword that goes down is not going to come out the foot.
Well, in this case, it didn't. Dude was hanging upside down in a straitjacket from a crane. There were two cars on either side of him. And he had a time limit, and if he didn't get out, the cars would crush him. And the cars crushed him.
On camera?
Yeah, the video. Well, they didn't put it on the show. He was practicing at the Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend. And now they're going, whoa, this is, and evidently it was like a second off because there was a flash. There was supposed to be this explosion, and he got out, and as he went up, he came down in the cars. He's not dead.
Oh, he's not dead.
He's in critical condition. They thought he died. Anyway, if you go to Tony Kurre Radio on my Twitter page, you can see the video. You can see the video of it because people were shooting videos, and so now people are like, you know, what's too much? And you get a $500,000 prize if you end up having the most extreme America's Got Talent thing. And it reminded me a lot of, and I know that the premise was, it reminded me of The Running Man a little bit, reality television.
Yeah.
Where, you know, when that movie came out in the 80s,
yep.
I always thought, and that's 30 years ago, I'm thinking, would we ever want, because we watch Dumbass, we watch things where people get hurt, but we know they're going to live, right?
Right.
Like whenever you watch America's Funniest Videos or whatever.
Right, and they smash into the wall.
No one was hurt in this thing, and I was watching, I must have fallen asleep watching True TV. I don't know if there was a Braves game on or something. And they do this whole video show where they have Danny Bonaducci and all these different comedians comment. And it was like biggest dumbasses, something anyway. And he had guys jumping off rooftops onto tables and stuff. And they're not going to show the video if someone is severely injured in this particular case. In this particular case, someone was. And part of me, and we'll talk a little bit more, part of me was kind of like, okay, this is going to add to America's Got Talent because now we know that as death-defying as these stunts are, they are dangerous, and someone could actually get hurt here. For the most part, whenever you're watching a Penn and Teller show or someone's getting sawed in half or any type of reality show, you know it's taped and you know they're going to get out alive, right? Mm-hmm. This is the first time I can remember, at least recently, or the exception of the motorcycle guy that had just had a newborn and ended up crashing short of the runway. This is real. And I, again, part of me is kind of like, okay, this is good because we always expect the magician or in this particular case, a guy trying to get out of a straitjacket gets out and he didn't. The video's hard to watch.
So this is, to me, what's interesting here is at the corporate level, this is my sort of business geekiness, corporate and marketing and promotions and legal. Mm-hmm. Their conversation around the table, okay, he's in critical condition, right? This was, he was horrible. How do we do in the ratings? How's this going to help our show?
Yeah.
It's just a difficult, that is a...
And I don't know because I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
Nobody does.
I'm kind of like the guy knew what he was up for. Now you're going to not watch? Right. You know, when you're talking about someone...
I know.
If he died, it's like... It's weird. From a psychological standpoint, we know it's dangerous, but we know they always make it, right? That was the one thing that was so incredible about Evel Knievel, because it was live.
Right.
And we never knew. And we saw him break every bone in his body, but he lived.
Right.
And so you're kind of like, and so that was the excitement of watching a live stunt. And on these particular shows, they're all taped, and so you know they're going to be okay. And they,
right.
You're going to make it. But they always make it. In this particular case, he was practicing at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and he's
Have you
very,
ever
very
seen a stunt?
So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it makes me want to watch it. I don't know if it makes me want to say, you know what, no more. But I know there's probably some people out there that want to see that.
It's not. So it's a subtle. There's definitely people going to want to see it, but I think where I was going is it's looking at the car accident when you drive by. It's the same thing. It's you think you say that that's terrible, and it is.
Yeah.
You say that, oh my God, we shouldn't watch. That's terrible. Like they shouldn't. But you know that the next time it's on,
Yep.
you're probably more likely to tune in than to not tune in to see what happens. Have you ever seen anyone die or die during a stunt live?
I haven't. I mean, I've seen someone die, but I have not seen
No, but during like a
die.
stunt or anything like that.
No, I've never seen anyone. I have not. I know some people have been to air shows where there's been accidents.
Right. That's what I mean. I have.
Yeah.
I was, yes, as a kid. I was with my dad. It was one of the first, my dad was all in the air shows. He used to drag us. It was like in California, it's 197 degrees out in Death Valley, and he loved it. And we, when are we going to go? Anyway, we were watching, and they were doing the where they do the nosedive and they pull out. We were watching, and we had seen them do a bunch of them, and all of a sudden we're watching. And I remember being a small kid. I was probably about maybe 11. And we watched and went down, and it didn't pull out, and it just like hit the ground. And I remember everybody around was gasping, and you saw the ambulance go on, and we were sorry to announce they died. They're just dead. I remember thinking, again, I was relatively young, and I remember thinking, because I just saw the crash, and but it was close. I didn't know how to wrap my head around death that way. I mean, my grandparents had died, but to see that without the gore, because see, the gore is enough to like just scare the bejesus out of you. That's something that if you're young, to see gore is scary, but to see a death happen, but you can't see the person, but you know that they died.
Yeah.
It makes you. We just, everybody was sad, but like my brother and I weren't sad. We didn't know what to write. We didn't know what to think or what to do. And I'm telling you, we've talked about this all the time. We are absolutely hardwired to be drawn to death so that we can be repelled from death.
So this is the new Kurre and Klapow Faces of Death is what this is, because outside. Yeah, an old person or staying by a bedside in a hospital watching
and I've
someone
seen it,
pass, which is a lot of us have.
Yes.
But to see someone die unexpectedly is very difficult. To see someone die unexpectedly and then see the morbid aspect of it, actually see it. And I think that's where the George Floyd situation for many people
that's exactly.
was a traumatic experience. And then to see someone die when there was a risk of death in what they were doing takes it to another level. And so you're kind of like you're hanging there between two cars and a crane. I mean, it's horrible, but you don't expect it because magic is magic. And in this particular illusion, maybe we should get our friend David Merlin on, who's an illusionist. They'll always say there's always a risk of something like this happening, and for the most part, I think a lot of us go whatever. I mean, we know that the saw's not going to cut the woman in half, and all these different things, and there's fail safes in a lot of those particular tricks. In this particular case, the dude's hanging 100 feet above the ground. There's all kinds of things that could go wrong, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, obviously he's going to make it out alive, and it was a hell of a stunt. And this guy had done this. He's done several stunts that have been death-defying stunts, and now all of a sudden you're like, but if you watch enough shows on Houdini and stuff, I mean, there were some close calls for him too, and you just don't expect it, but because he always came through.
Yeah.
So scary stuff. You can go to Tony Curry Radio on Twitter and see the video if you want to. It's a hell of a stunt, but unfortunately,
they have not pulled the video.
No, the video the video made it out. It didn't come out through AGT.
Interesting,
but I mean,
it's interesting they haven't dropped the video.
Well, yeah, it happened yesterday afternoon, I guess.